Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday morning now. One more day to the Friday and the weekend, and I hope you have a fantastic day. We've been looking at the mountains that Jesus says that we can move into the ocean through the simple seed of faith. The power of the little seed of faith, if it is well directed, and its source and is founded, and its strength is founded in God Himself. Very powerful thing. And so we've been talking about these different mountains. We've done disappointment. The mountain of hopelessness is the one that we're on right now. We did shame last week. But our whole thesis of dealing with these mountains is not just to try and get bigger than them or stronger than them, but to get cleverer than them. And to get cleverer, we have to be able to look past the problem of the mountain itself to the vision and the purpose beyond that. Yesterday we said that the highest calling of a Christian is to be like Jesus. The highest calling of a Christian is not to raise the dead and to heal the sick and to do all those things. The highest calling for every believer is simply to be like Jesus and to imitate Him. Now, that was what Jesus wants you to be. That's part of the vision of what I would like for you to get, what Jesus wants you to be like. Today I'd like to talk about very simply in just a couple of minutes, what does Jesus want you to do? If we know what Jesus wants you to be like, He wants you to be like Him. That's the highest calling of man, is to be like Jesus. Then the next question we ask is, well, what does Jesus want me to do? If I am like that, now what do I do? And today I want to give you two pictures of what Jesus wants you to do. Now, those of you who come to our church will know these well, but let me remind you of them. The first thing is that in order to find out what Jesus wants you to do, in the sense of making a difference in this world, which we all should be wanting to do anyway, you have to ask yourself the question about Popeye. Remember, we've mentioned Popeye a number of times, and Popeye, when he's been chased by Brutus and he's had to rescue olive oil and a whole bunch of different times, he pops his spinach and he says, "What can't I stand no more?" And we've asked ourselves the question, we come back to it, what can't you stand no more? Because I would guarantee that holy discontent that God has put into your heart and into your mind is the issue that God probably wants you personally to address in order to make a difference in the world. So ask yourself, what is it that you can't stand no longer? What is it? Could it be injustice? Could it be the issues of poverty, the issues of crime, the issues of defenseless people, the issues of crisis against children? What is it that angers you, that will get you out of your easy, lazy boy chair and out of in front of a TV to do something for the cause of Christ and to extend His kingdom here on earth? What is it that He would want for you to do? I pretty much am sure that it would be something that angers you and something that you just can't stand no more. Now, for us in our church, we live in an interesting place. We live in the midst of poverty and dysfunctional living, kids in danger, women suffering abuse. It's a horrific situation. And yet we believe that God has called us to a mission right here to change the world, and we are angered by these things that we see around us. And so as a result, we're trying to do the best we can through our Genesis project to be able to address those issues, and they're simply issues of hopelessness. There are thousands of people in the area around us who just are hopeless. They get up every day, they look at the same old problems, they go to bed hungry that night, only to repeat that same thing the next day. That makes me angry. It's not meant to be like that. And God has wanted to be like that when we see these injustices around us. I hope you have a holy discontent. If you haven't got one, you need to find one. The second thing that you need to ask again is a well-known phrase. What have you got in your hand? If you want to know how to address your holy discontent and the thing that angers you, and you're saying, what am I going to do about it? Have a look at what you have in your hand. Now, I know that God does supernatural stuff, but it begins with you. When Moses stood in front of the Red Sea, we've often said, God said, "Moses, what do you got in your hand?" He said, "Lord, I have a staff." God said, "That'll do it." Pick up that staff, point it to the other side of the sea. And Moses would have said, "But God, what's that going to do? We got the armies of Pharaoh behind us and the sea in front of us. What is this stick going to do?" God says, "Just do it. Just do it. Just obey me." David, what have you got in your hand? "Oh, I've got a slingshot, Lord." God says, "That'll do. Just pick up a stone and throw it at that giant. I'll do the rest. Just do it." And then we have the kid with a few little loaves and a couple of fish. And he brings these to Jesus and he says, Jesus, can this help you to feed these thousands of people? And Jesus smiles and said, absolutely it can. And he says to the little boy, what have you got in your hand? And the little kid said, well, I'm willing to give you what I've got in my hand. I've got my loaves and fish. Jesus, in your hands, I know that these can do a lot. People, you don't have to do it yourself. You just have to initiate, get off your butt and begin to do something for the cause of the kingdom related to what angers you and what you count stands no more, and then get into it by using what you have in your hand. Yeah, it's a powerful thing and can impact so many lives. Many of you will remember our friend Paul Flanagan, and he was the one who helped to start the Vikings Rugby Academy. And one day he came to my office and he asked me the question, Trevor, what have I got in my hand? I said, Paul, you got a rugby ball in your hand. And he turned that rugby ball in his hand and he turned something really significant. There are people in the kingdom today because of that, because he used what he had in his hand. I hope you find it, people, because the kingdom needs it. God doesn't. God can use somebody else if he really wants to, but God would want for you to find fulfillment in finding that mission and that purpose for which you're on this planet, and use what you have in your hand and watch what happens from there. God bless you, and I hope he really speaks to you in a big way this week. Have a great day. Bye.